Hey everyone, Lance Bailey Poetry here. This is kind of a reflections video. I'm going to reflect a little bit about my poetry now that I am a couple months into the journey. I have uploaded just over 100 of my poems and thought I would take some time to step back and reflect on the dynamics, the personal dynamics as an artist of dealing with all that. In my case, dealing with all that is sort of an interstate road that I have traveled down many times. I have, for many decades, painted, dabbled in oils and acrylics, and painted. I've managed to sell a few of them. The bulk, I haven't, and to be honest, the bulk of them I've never attempted to. Um, but I have sold a few. That always gives you a ego boost, a little bit. You get some validation. Likewise, have spent decades making music. Have tried the commercial route and failed. And I find, the whole point in this video, if I have a point, if I have a higher meaning, a purpose, is really to maybe provide some comfort for someone starting out, because I am an old man and I get that. At this point in my career that doesn't exist, that's one of the major things working against me is that, I got gray hair, right? Um, and another thing is, I don't have a luscious set of tatas that I can pull back and put on display, because that does attract some hits, on YouTube, etc. I have some tatas, but they are not, nothing that anybody wants to look at. So, the reality of it is I'm actually okay with that. What I've noticed, because I prowl around and I subscribe to several Facebook poetry groups. I mean, almost every day there is someone that you can perceive is in kind of a state of desperation about their path. Um, I just need to blah, 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 blah. I need help getting a book published. How can I get my book published? And sometimes those people really do come across like they're potentially getting close to a point where they jump off the cliff. And I guess, and what I'm going to go into some detail here, and this is under the hood type stuff, because this is all real, is I have confronted that feelings for a long time ago. I'm not going to say, to be fair, that it is still easy to deal with, because it's kind of always it's always in your mind, and it's nagging at you a little bit. By the way, I am the world's best farter, but like spoken word poetry, there's just not much of a market for that. People are like, so what? You're the world's best farter. That's how they respond to that. So I realize there's not a big market for my product that I'm putting out, spoken word poetry on video, from a crazy looking guy with an even crazier looking backdrop. But I think it is safe to say I am about the only one that meets that description doing that on the planet. There's not much reward for that, but I am in small company. So yes. So I've got like 15 subscribers for my 100 plus videos, and that can be a little depressing. It's certainly a recipe for it, but I am undeterred because on the flip side of reality, I've kind of come to a point in my life where I'm at peace with that. I have other things to do. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. I am planning thousands of more poems, the Lord willing. That's a key point. If the Lord allows, I have no plans to stop what I'm doing, even though back behind me over there is a big giant blank painting that I'm getting ready to sling some paint on and go down that road again. And as I cycle through my various hobby preferences, if you find something you do in life you like to do, then you need to do it artistically or whateverly. You just need to do that, and you can't be really deterred. You know, in this sense, I kind of understand how women with small breasts feel. We live on a comparative planet. I have a friend of mine, good pal, who has recently started him a YouTube channel. He has been doing it half as long as I have and already has subscribers probably in the neighborhood of 20 times more than I have. And you look at that, and especially when they remind you, hey, I'm up to 300 subscribers, there's a little bit of that feeling of, sitting on a sticker, but it's a test, and you have to learn to applaud other people's successes, even if they're not so much of a competitor, or even if when they are a competitor, you have to be able to applaud other people's successes in spite of or how they may differ from your own. But it can be difficult, and as much as I would like to claim otherwise, I am 100% fully human. It's natural to have kind of these feelings, especially if you're reminded of them frequently. It would be like you and a buddy getting into the lawn care business at the same time, and you see them becoming successful, and they're like, hey man, I got 20 clients now, 20 clients. And how many you got, Bob? And, I got 3. It's easy for that person to be discouraged. What makes it a little easier for me in the artistic realm is it's really not a competition, so to speak. It is about a display, and that's your equator that you gotta come back and go to, your center, as they would say in the yoga circles. You've got to find that and go back to that and realize, hey, ask yourself a question. Do I still enjoy doing this? Do I get something out of it? Does it benefit me? Does it fulfill me or make me happy, or etc.? And if the answer is yes, you keep on doing it, and you don't worry about the future. And you can click on all these clickbait brainiac articles that will say, if you just persevere, your day will come. The reality of it is it may not. Typically artists often, you don't achieve success until after you croak. But again, I'm aware of that. I have swam in that pool for decades now. Because let's face it, I'm weird. My poetry is weird. And I'm not going to change. At this point, I feel like I'm probably not allowed to change, but nor do I want to. I'm comfortable being the world's best farter, okay? Get some of that. I am not the world's best shot putter or track champion. But, yeah, for all you other artists out there or anybody trying to breaking in is difficult. There's a firewall around everything, and if you've got couple super round things, it's going to give you a leg up. But if you don't, or you have one of those, what they would say, faces made for radio, hey, it's gonna be harder for you in this world. But again, you can't. You have to look at your own. Look at personal fulfillment versus success. Success is a lure. Success is relative. Yeah, there's all these avenues. In true story, I have basically one finished, unpublished poem book. It's basically ready to go. If I would get off my keister and learn how to format it for Kindle, I could already have it on Amazon. I don't want to go through that process. Like a lot of artists, the creating part is the fun. One reason I never could sell my paintings is because I never really tried hard to. I just refused to go to an art fair and sit in that lawn chair all day, even though I like people and I love to converse with people. I just can't do that. I've always wanted somebody to do that for me. Let me play the music and you manage the band, so to speak. I can't do both. So, again, I have a poem book that is practically finished, is ready to go. But then again, that opens up the door, to even do that. Is that now just another failure point? Would I be depressed? Would I likely no? Would I likely anticipate that if I put that up on Amazon, maybe a year later, I had 11 downloads? Probably, because that's part of the burden of being weird. If you wanna make it in this world, boy, you got to be really weird and really really perverse. I think, and I'm not willing to do things. I have the imagination. I have some ideas that would probably generate me way more hits, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stay true to what I like to do. I'm going to keep on doing what I like to do. Probably not going to change my model a lot. Just stick with it. That's what I encourage you to do. Whatever you're doing, stick with it. If you're a poet, figure out at least though how to be a better poet. Husband, wife, figure out how to be better of those. Whatever you do, fishing, sports. But hey, be yourself. Keep it weird. From the fringe, baby. After you're on the fringe.